Hi again. So, I wanted to talk to you about the joys that may not be obvious, some of the struggles that may not be obvious about raising kids with special needs. My biggest wish for my kids is to have people see them first as children, see them as beautiful, see them as kind, see them as different, but not in a bad, different way. See them as children first. And I know that for some it can be kind of scary because there are tubes and cords, and sometimes they have machines that are noisy, or maybe special chairs or equipment, and it can be very overwhelming, and you don't want to scare the child and you don't want to offend somebody. But I guarantee you, if you just speak to them like they're humans, say hello, it goes a long way for the kiddo and for the parents. These kids are sometimes called medically fragile. Two of mine are, but they are the toughest people that I know. They go through things all the time, rigorous therapies, shots, special doctor's appointments, lots of specialists, and yet they're the happiest people I know. They're the toughest people I know. And I think we can learn a lot from them, right? I mean, having a child with a disability can be very overwhelming. There are certainly moments of fear. There are seasons of heartache and heartbreak. It takes a lot of faith and a lot of patience. And before I was a special needs mom, I didn't have a lot of faith or patience. And I feel like sometimes God doesn't call the equipped to do the job. He equips the people he calls. Hear it again. Doesn't call the equipped. He equips the called. There are very unique things about being a special needs parent that can make it feel extremely isolating. Things that maybe other parents take for granted, bathing their children, putting them to bed at night, feeding them, are very different and difficult and complicated sometimes for us. And, there's a lot of planning involved and organizing. There are extra hospital trips, medical tests, therapies. Each kiddo has 3 therapy sessions a week at home for their home health therapies. But then in addition, they have at least 3 at school as well, which right now, because of, COVID, means it's another Zoom call at home, which we love and we appreciate. And we're so grateful to have those therapies in place. But it's one more thing to remember to do. And sometimes that can be physically, mentally exhausting. We have a lot of supplies. We get cases of supplies every month, and we need to organize them and catalog them so we know when we're running low, and making sure that we get the right things so that we have them in case of emergency, or even not an emergency, just everyday use. We have to make sure that we're always prepared, because we don't want to assume the worst could happen, but it does, and it has. And we have to be prepared. So we have to make sure we always have the supplies we need. One of the most isolating things, I would say, hard things about being a special needs parent, is the tendency that we all have to compare. When we see someone else's child so effortlessly meeting milestones, knowing that our kiddo should have reached that milestone at least a year ago, it can be a little bit painful. Not that we're not happy for the kiddo that's doing well, but hard not to imagine if things had been different, gone different. For our kiddo, what would they be like today? But it's really important not to get stuck in that way of thinking, because everything has led to the moment where they are now. And if anything had gone different, maybe they wouldn't even be here. I mean, in my case, 3 of our kiddos are adopted, And I think about the things that have happened in their past that were unfair. And I think about if those things had not happened, I would not be their mom. And being their mom is a huge part of who I am. It provides a lot of purpose in my life, and it has led me to a faith in God that I would not have, not like this. The other thing I don't know if a lot of other special needs moms talk about, I'm sure they feel it though, is that mom guilt. We all have mom guilt. All of us moms do. Special needs mom guilt is like mom guilt's evil, ugly cousin. Because you're already emotionally, mentally exhausted, and you're always thinking the what ifs, she creeps in. Are you sure you're a good enough mom for this kid? Could somebody be doing it better? Are you sure you're remembering everything? Are they this way because of something you did? And it's hard not to beat yourself up. But mama, I promise you, God knows the whole story. He handpicked you to be their mom. That's no small thing. No two of us are the same. Of all the people he could have picked in the whole world, he chose you. So whether your kid is a typical kiddo or a special needs or somewhere in between, you were chosen to be that specific child's parent. And no one else can do it like you. So trust those instincts. Trust your heart. Love them the way that only you can love them. Know that they're a gift. And remember that when you start to feel down on yourself, because you will, you do, I'm sure I do, every day, remember to give yourself credit for the things you're doing right, the things you're absolutely doing right. You know, someone once told me the kids aren't going to remember 10 years from now how clean the living room looked that day in May, but they will remember that you sat on the floor and played Uno with them in a fort. So there has to be balance, but don't forget to play and have fun. Don't be so busy making a living that you forget to live your life. You know? Okay, so all the ugly stuff accounted for. There are hidden blessings in this special needs parenting journey that I don't think get talked about enough too. I would honestly not change my kids for the world. It's hard to find time for self-care, sure. It's hard to find time alone with my husband. We have 5 kids. But the things that are irreplaceable, the desires of my heart have been filled. You know, success looks different to everybody. But to me, this job of being a homemaker, taking care of these kiddos, being a wife to this man, this is all I ever wanted. My heart is full. My joy is full. And I have peace. I have my crazy days too, don't get me wrong. It's not always peaceful. It's not always happy and rainbows and sunshines. But at the core, this is where I want to be. Don't forget to feel the joy in the waiting. Our kids take extra time to meet their milestones, and they're farther between and fewer of them. But don't wait until then to be happy, because you get a front row seat to the greatest show on earth. You're getting to watch them progress in slow motion. How amazing is that? Most parents blink and their kids are changing so fast, but I take it as a blessing that I can blink sometimes, and because it's happening so slowly, I can see it happening day to day, the little bits of change at a time over time. And when they do reach a milestone, it is so exciting. It's such a celebration because it took so much effort and so long to get there. Do you know what I mean? They know it too. And they're so proud of themselves, which is beautiful. Hearing a kid who you never knew if they would speak call you mama. Having a kid who you didn't know if would ever be able to sit unassisted, crawl into your lap to snuggle you, is life affirming. It's pure love. And that can only be given from God. That's the only explanation. Friends, God meets you where you're at. Sometimes that's beside a child in a hospital bed, knowing that you might be going home alone. Sometimes it's crying in your car at your wit's end, but He meets you. He meets you where you are. You don't have to do anything special to earn that privilege. It's given freely. That's grace. God is our Father, just ready to hold us the way we hold our babies. The gift of being able to stretch out childhood just a little longer is treasure. And don't get me wrong, I hope that my kids are able to become independent. I hope that they fly the nest, build one of their own. But if they can't or don't, my nest will always have a place for them, and I am okay with that. In the meantime, I've got a front row seat to the best show on earth, watching God restore their health and light up the world with the smiles of these beautiful, special kids. What else could we want? I don't always know what this YouTube channel is going to be, but I can tell you that I want to be a source of encouragement for you. I want to remind you that it's okay to not be okay, that you don't have to be perfect to be a good mom, and you don't have to earn your child's love. You don't have to earn God's love. I think that a lot of times, for me, and maybe for you too, I forget that I don't have to be perfect. Our kids see us exactly as we are, and they love us anyway. God sees you exactly as you are. He loves you anyway. This week, just give yourself a small break. When you hear those voices in your head reminding you of the things you didn't get done or the ways you should be doing better or whatever, think of 2 things you did right. Because there will always be that voice in your ear telling you things that you're not doing right, reminding you of things to add to the to-do list. But friend, if you stop and think about it, the fact that you're watching this video and trying to feel better says that you're doing a pretty good job. I really think so. I hope that you feel encouraged. Consider yourself hugged from my heart to yours. I hope that you have a great week, and I hope that you're easy on yourself. Do something nice for you today. You deserve it.